When we got off the plane, the Ministry of Education had somebody meet us there, which was really helpful, and walk us through the airport.
There was someone with my name, they were just holding my name. We just went over to them and she was really great. She spoke perfect English and she led us the whole way.
There were signs and people there to help guide you through it, because I don't speak Chinese, so some of the people spoke English, and so it was helpful for me to kind of follow the guidelines and just to follow that path of quarantine.
He helped us get our SIM cards, and he helped us get through customs and then get a taxi to the hotels.
We had the guide take us through all the checkpoints that we needed to do and told us what papers to have ready, so we were able to navigate that fairly quickly.
Even if you're feeling a bit flustered because you're in a new country, the system is just very, very clear.
It was pretty stress-free once we got to Taiwan. We were just walked through every step of the way and we were taken care of.
So she explained every single step. It was very, very clear. Took us to the taxi.
And then we were quickly brought to our quarantine hotel rooms where we had to stay for the 2 weeks.
And once I got to my quarantine hotel, I was in a nice room. It was pretty comfortable, it was pretty big. I had a window, which was nice.
And the room itself had 2 single beds, a TV set up, and then a desk for a little workspace.
There was a desk and a chair, a really nice bathroom with a shower.
Pretty big space. I was able to do some workouts.
For me, it was very similar to the hotel that I would be used to back home.
Overall, the room was more than nice.
The hotel staff, everyone is just so nice and warm. All you have to do is communicate with the hotel staff or anyone in Foresight through a line and it's done. So there really isn't much to worry about, even with the language barrier.
One thing that I was surprised about was that every meal we were given breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. So we didn't have to worry about ordering on Food Panda, or we didn't ever have to worry about not having a meal.
The food they had delivered every day, 3 meals a day, and it was pretty good. It was very similar to kind of the things I eat at home, so I had no complaints about the food. And then I was also able to order food as well if I was getting tired of their food.
The meals are all provided, but if you don't like the meals that the hotel offers, you can also order food from Uber Eats, which was more to my liking.
Sometimes it could be repetitive, the same thing for 14 days. There's still the option to order online, Uber Eats, Food Panda, whatever you want, but at least we knew that we were never going to have to worry about where food or water was coming from while we were in quarantine.
I was actually in quarantine for Christmas and winter solstice, and the hotel provided candies and desserts for the holidays, which was very warming, and I feel like if it was anywhere, it's Taiwan that would do something like that.
You know what? The quarantine stage was actually not nearly as bad as people had said it might be or that I maybe was expecting.
You know what? It wasn't as bad as we were expecting. I think I was a little more nervous about it than my partner, but it wasn't too bad.
The hard thing about it was just, it felt really long.
Ooh, you get cabin fever. I was so bored.
The worst part, I would say, in my experience, is the 3rd day. Those first 2 days are oh, sitting around doing nothing can't be so bad, can it?
When you're just kind of there by yourself, there's no one to talk to.
And then the 3rd day comes and it's awful. Morale is really low.
The day is so long. I mean, you're gonna come back, you're gonna have jet lag, you're gonna wake up at 5 a.m. You're gonna do everything you can think of, and it's only 11. And you're like, oh no!
The challenge is just the lack of human interaction.
You're just not used to being so disconnected from people, even if you can call them and whatnot.
I think it was about halfway through quarantine was when I started getting antsy, and then at some point it almost feels like you're never gonna leave.
But then after that, it gets better. You get kind of just used to it. You get used to just talking to your friends on the phone or messaging them.
To be honest, it was an excuse to relax for 2 weeks and truly kind of decompress. After working back in Canada and knowing that we were going to be starting full-time again, it was really 2 weeks to watch TV, maybe plan a bit.
We brought some exercise equipment with us and we had Wi-Fi, so we were able to still keep up with our work and was able to FaceTime with my family back home. I brought a yoga mat and a skipping rope, which I definitely recommend. Throughout the day, just made sure that I was moving and stretching.
something that I did is I got, very into my own, like, kind of indoor hobbies, if you will. I like reading, I like singing, I like, playing video games, and doing those things helped me just kind of keep busy while I wasn't actually just working or talking to friends.
But it also gives you a lot of time to do so much support for work. You'll have your class list by then, so you have time to, get your gradebook set up. You have time to make materials for your class. So I think that is the best use of your quarantine while you're there.
And it really kind of flew by, in my opinion. I know that's not the same for everybody, but as somebody who doesn't have a lot of downtime normally or doesn't let themselves enjoy it, having an excuse to watch TV for all day and have no guilt about it, it's actually really nice.
Definitely towards the end, around day 11 and 12, I was getting pretty excited to leave.
Something that surprised me was how well organized it was. You get off the plane, you get an immediate test, you go in a designated taxi to your hotel, and then later in your stay at the hotel they give you another test. It's all very organized, all very planned out. You don't have to worry about it.
Some people think that the quarantine system is very confusing, and it is, but when you have a company who's dealing with the whole system for you and is organising it, it makes it so much easier.